Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So, I have new damning details to share with you guys about the accusations against Donald Trump in the Epstein files. So, I'm sure you guys are going to remember the FBI tip that I showed you. I think it was a couple weeks back at this point, may have been last week. It was from someone who claimed that there are actual bodies buried at Trump's California golf course. Well, now it's being reported that the FBI interviewed that person, and we have more details. They thought this person was credible enough that they actually interviewed him. So the tipster, it turns out, is a man, but he was described by the investigators as a victim. And he was also described as a former member of the Mexican drug trafficking organization. It's there, you probably have heard of it. It's called the Sinaloa Cartel. So this person was also allegedly very close with Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, which is why they're saying or I guess he's saying he was allowed to quote unquote walk away from the cartel. Because, usually you're not allowed to do that, at least not, on your own accord. Usually you walk away, but, being carried by 6 other men in a casket. So here's the thing. According to this person, Donald Trump funded underage sex parties at the Donald Trump golf course. This is the first page of the document. Okay. He also claimed that this is by the way, the 302. So this is like the FBI's interview of this person. And then this person also claims that he has recordings of Trump, Epstein, and Maxwell discussing marketing strategies for high-profile sex parties. And in one of these recordings, he says that Donald Trump was heard saying, yeah, like basically confirming that he is aware of these parties. So confirming that this wasn't going on behind his back. He knew about it, was totally on board with it. And then the FBI report goes on to say that the tipster claims to have witnessed a young girl, and I mentioned this as well a couple weeks back, witnessed a young girl being strangled to death at one of these parties by a celebrity, and that she was, quote, buried behind the 19th hole at Donald Trump golf course. So again, these are allegations, but this person said that they are aware of, quote, 3 separate occasions in which girls were murdered and buried there. And then it goes on to say, quote, redacted was told if they spoke about the incident they witnessed, they would end up in the hole as well. And this is another part of the 302, I guess it is. So this witness went on to say that he gave Maxwell the idea to install cameras at Trump's golf course to understand how to market 12 to 14-year-olds to cartel members. As I said before, we keep seeing these FBI tips, but they haven't released any investigation materials. If these accusations were made about any other person, the feds would most likely seek a search warrant. They would get cadaver dogs out onto the property, right? They'd be digging up the golf course. So what happened with this? They keep telling us, oh, we looked at everything and we determined that there was nothing to any of this. These are all unfounded claims. These are all just accusations. We absolutely, did our due diligence and nothing to see here, nobody else to be prosecuted. But yet they haven't given us a single document showing what they did. Did you get warrants? Did you dig up the golf course? Did you even attempt to get a warrant? What were your findings after talking to this guy? Did you do any digging about, these other people that he's mentioned? Or did you confirm that he was a part of the cartel? What investigatory steps did you take? They haven't given us one shred of information about any of this. It's just, oh, trust me, bro. Trust me. We did it. All done. Done and dusted. We figured it out. This was all fake. Prove it. Prove it to us. And I have more details to share about another accusation that was made against Trump. So there's a journalist that you may have heard of. His name is Roger Sullenberger. He reported that and you guys will remember this one as well. There was a woman who accused Trump of, or actually it was a tip called in on the hotline from someone else saying, hey, my friend told me that when she was somewhere around 13 to 14 years old, she was at, one of these Epstein parties. She was violated by Trump and Epstein. Trump shoved her head down to his crotch. He was exposed. When she bit him, on his member, he slapped her. He hit her and, abused her and threatened her or whatever. It's now coming out in other documents that people have found in this trove that they released that she was actually interviewed. So the woman, not the friend, but the actual alleged victim, was interviewed by the FBI, and they found her to be credible. That is what they said. They found her to be a credible accuser. So here's the, title of the article that Roger Sullenberger posted. This was over on Substack. And based on what's in the FBI records, a woman with this same alleged victim's biological profile matched that of a woman who received a settlement from Epstein's estate in 2021. So obviously, if this is the same woman, she was credible enough to get a settlement from Epstein's estate. Now, if you've seen my previous Epstein videos, you guys, again, will remember this allegation. It was included on the PowerPoint presentation that the FBI created last year. So I think this was number one. It's kind of small, but I'm pretty sure this is the first one up there. I know Trump is number one at the list, on the top of this list. And then Sullenberger also said that claims made by this woman, quote, match other records in the files, including an FBI write-up known as a 302 form of an interview with an Epstein victim and her lawyer. The interview was conducted July 24th, 2019, and entered into the FBI's case files on August 9th, the day before Epstein was found dead in his jail cell. Interesting timing, isn't it? That this woman, the one who it seems made this allegation against Trump, goes in with an attorney. Didn't just talk to them on the phone, didn't just make a random accusation, goes in to meet with the FBI with her attorney and gives them a formal statement, which they wrote down on a 302 FBI form, the day before Jeffrey Epstein winds up dead in his cell under extremely suspicious circumstances. So here is the first page of that 302 form, the one that they, wrote down all of her allegations. As you can see, shit ton of this is redacted, which it's not supposed to be. I mean, they can redact her name if she is a victim, which obviously she alleges that she is, but that's not just her name. Unless her name is like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, like all the way through Z. Like, how long is this woman's name that much is redacted on this document, right? And And again, I don't know if you guys can make it out, but this is a 9-page document. So she gave them a lot of information. And then here's the second page of this same document. Again, why is so much of this text redacted? So, we don't know for sure that this is the same woman, but the age matches, her state of residence matches, which that's really intriguing because she was, I think, raised in, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm remembering correctly, South Carolina, but then she moved to Vancouver, Canada. So how many people have that profile who are making accusations against Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump? I would venture a guess it's not that many who lived in South Carolina and moved to Canada. And then there were other details that matched. Like, I guess she had a criminal record, so that matched the details. And Sullenberger said that he did other searches for this same case number of hers, and it showed that the FBI felt that the information she provided was so credible that it merited a follow-up interview. And then he also wrote that this woman claims to have been assaulted between the ages of 13 and 15 by, quote, other prominent wealthy men she met in other states, most specifically when Epstein took her to intimate gatherings, that was a quote, in New York City. The alleged sexual and violent assault at Trump's hands took place in New Jersey, according to the FBI notes. Again, where are the investigatory notes showing how they followed up with this alleged victim and with her saying, yeah, I was victimized by other wealthy men? Who were those men? What did you do to flesh out the details and determine if it was legitimate or not? And the alleged victim told the authorities she told only 2 people what happened to her. She said, I didn't keep a diary. I never would have written it down. One person she told was her mother. Her mother has now passed away, but there's another person who she told, and that person's name was redacted. Again, they're not supposed to be redacting anybody but the victims. And, as Sullenberger pointed out, and as I just said, her claims were credible enough that the Epstein estate was willing to pay her off. They're not just paying off anybody, right? Not like I could walk in there and say, oh yeah, I was one of Epstein's victims and, make stuff up and they're just going to pay me. This is what a lot of people don't understand too about why these women haven't come forward and why they refuse to name names. I mean, beyond not wanting to get sued, beyond putting their lives in danger, many of them receive settlements. So, undoubtedly, they were forced to sign non-disclosure agreements in exchange for that cash. So in any case, the last bit of news that I have to share with you about this comes, and it's kind of related, but it comes from Marjorie Taylor Greene. So she was a guest on Owen Schroyer's podcast. Here they are, the 2 of them. He hosted this on Twitter. And I've talked about Schroyer before. He used to be an Alex Jones host. They had a falling out in part because Jones refused to say anything negative about Donald Trump. He's also one of the January 6th participants. Anyway, in the podcast, MTG admitted that everything Mike Johnson does in the House, everything Leader John Thune does in the Senate, and everything that AG Pam Bondi does in the Justice Department directly comes from Donald Trump. They don't make a single move without his approval. And then she added, quote, that fight to release the Epstein files came directly from President Trump. I know a lot of people have a hard time with that, but that is the truth. He fought the hardest to stop these files from being released. Now, before you go giving Marjorie some flowers, right? Oh, she said something honest. No, she is still pushing the line that Donald Trump is completely innocent. She's like, oh, well, the victims told me themselves that Donald Trump did nothing wrong. I'm sorry, Marjorie. Have you spoken to over 1,000 victims? Because we have been told there are more than 1,000 victims out there, and probably many, many more that we don't even know of because they're too afraid to come forward, or they just don't want to bring it up again. They want to bury it. So you talked to what, a dozen women who said Donald Trump did nothing to them. So that means, oh, well, there must not be anybody out there that he did anything to. Give me a freaking break. If the roles were reversed and 12 women, let's say, or 20 women said to her, oh, Bill Clinton didn't do anything to me, didn't touch me, would she still be, oh, well, Bill Clinton must be innocent? I mean, Jesus Christ, the freaking hypocrisy with these people. They'll see pictures of Bill Clinton with Jeffrey Epstein and some girls, and they go, oh, see, he's guilty of sin. He must have been doing stuff with underage children. I'm not even saying he wasn't. I don't know. Could have been. Could have been. No one has accused him yet, though. I will say that. He has been accused by adult women of violating them, but he has not been accused by anyone who was underage at the time. Whereas you have how many accusations against Donald Trump now, and it's nope, he's innocent, totally innocent. Nope, never went to the island. As if Epstein wasn't, trafficking these girls in New Mexico, in New York, in Florida, across the world, in other countries. So it's ridiculous. And she still thinks Tina Peters is innocent and should be let out. She still thinks the January 6th participants are innocent and they were set up. So yeah, she's still delusional, and then she's accusing other people of being cult members, like literally in this interview, accusing other MAGA people of being cult members. Like, okay, lady. Anyway, all right, guys, that's it for this segment. I will let you know when I find out more. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.